Welcome, Machu. Today we will discuss and revise gram-negative rods. Those are related to respiratory tract. I hope you are also revising along with us with all the topics which we have been gone through up to now. Today we will discuss the respiratory tract gram-negative rods. There are three medically important gram-negative rods: Haemophilus influenza, Bordetella pertussis, and Legionella. When we are talking about three medically important gram-negative rods of respiratory tract, means these are the gram-negative rods which are usually found in the respiratory tract, and they cause infection in the respiratory tract infection. First of all, we will go through the Haemophilus. Haemophilus influenza is usually used to be as leading cause of meningitis in the young children, but the use of high effective conjugate vaccine has been greatly reduced the number of incidents of meningitis cases by this organism. An important cause of upper respiratory tract infection, and along with the otitis media, sinusitis, and epiglottitis. Sepsis in the children, pneumonia in adults, particularly in those with chronic obstructive lung disease, like in smokers. Important properties are gram-negative rod, they are cocobacilli, and they are polysaccharide capsule is there. If you see, this is a blurred picture, but you can see thick, small cocobacilli. It is one of the most important encapsulated pathogen, and along with the pneumococcus and meningococcus. Like pneumococcus and meningococcus, they have a very important thick encapsulated pathogen. Growth of the organisms on laboratory media requires the additional two components, that is heme factor and NAD factor, that is your factor 10 and factor 5 for adequate energy production. Natural habitat of the organism is human upper respiratory tract, and the mode of transmission is person to person by inhalation of respiratory droplets or by direct contact with respiratory secretions. In the neonates, infections is acquired intrapartum by aspiration of amniotic fluid or by contact with the genital tract secretions containing the organism. In the pathogenesis, the H. influenza infects only humans. There is no animal reservoir, and it enters the body through the upper respiratory tract and resulting in either asymptomatic colonization or infection such as otitis media and sinusitis and pneumonia. Pathogens involved in the antiphagocytic capsules and endotoxins are also important factors. The organism produces an IgA protease that degrades the secretory IgA, thus facilitating the attachment of respiratory tract mucosa by the Haemophilus influenza. The organism can enter the bloodstream, that is bacteremia, and can spread to the meninges. Clinical findings: meningitis is very important in young children, and rapid onset of fever, headache, neck stiffness, that is the classical presentation of the meningitis is there, and along with the drowsiness is typical. Sinusitis and otitis media will cause pain in the affected area, or opacifications of the infected sinuses, and redness with bulging tympanic membrane. Septic arthritis can be there, cellulitis can be there, sepsis can be there, occurring especially in the splenectomy patient. Splenectomized patient means immunocompromised. Epiglottitis, which can obstruct the airway, can also occur. This is life-threatening disease in young children, and it is mostly and exclusively caused by H. influenza. Epiglottitis. How I will diagnose? We will diagnose by isolating the case on chocolate agar, and along with the two factors, that is 10 and factor 5, that is heme component and NAD. An organism that grows only in the presence of both growth factors is presumptively identified as H. influenza. Another species of Haemophilus, like parainfluenza, in which you don't require the both factors. We can detect the polysaccharide capsule by Quelling's reaction and by fluorescent antibody staining, and counter immunoelectrophoresis can also be helping, along with the latex agglutination test. Treatment is ceftriaxone, which is treatment of choice, and H. influenza upper respiratory infection and otitis media can either be treated by amoxicillin clominate, that is your augmentin, or trimethoprim and sulfasalazole combinations. How you can prevent by a conjugate vaccine that is given to the along with the diphtheroid toxin and other carrier proteins, and between age of 2 to 15 months it should be given. Next is Bordetella pertussis, that is we will discuss later. I will ask what is the life-threatening part of it, clinical presentation of H. influenza infection. I told you before, what is the life-threatening infection caused by H. influenza? I told you only one disease which is life-threatening, one clinical presentation life-threatening, which is caused by H. influenza. Come on, guys. Which disease or clinical presentation is life-threatening and it is caused by only by H. influenza? You have to answer the question so that we can carry on. Which one is life-threatening disease? Your attendance will be marked if you will answer the question. Bordetella pertussis causes whooping cough, that is pertussis. The Bordetella pertussis, a pathogen only for humans, is transmitted by the airborne droplets and it produces during the several coughing episodes. That's why it's called whooping cough. The organism is attached to the ciliated epithelium of the upper respiratory tract but do not invade basically the underlying tissue. This decreased the cilia activity and it is followed by the death of the ciliated epithelium cells. And this is the major important aspect of pathogenesis. Pertussis is a highly contagious disease and where at one time you can infect many people sitting next to you by your air droplets, and it occurs primarily in the infants and young children and it is worldwide distributed. So it's not for Asia or America or Australia or Europe, its worldwide distribution is there. Attachment to the cilia. Now attachment to the organisms to the cilia of the epithelium is mediated by the protein on pili and it is called as filamentous hemagglutinin. This is very important protein and this is the one protein that is attached through which the organisms are attached. Pertussis toxins are basically stimulated adenosine cyclase by catalyzing the addition of adenosine diphosphate ribose, that is ADP ribosylation, and to inhibitory submit unit or to the G protein complex. Prolonged stimulation of the ADP and consequent rise in the cyclic AMP is in the protein kinase activity dependent. The toxin also has a domain that mediate its binding to the receptors and on the surface of the respiratory tract epithelial cells, which are ciliated cells. Pertussis toxins also causes the striking lymphocytosis, and in the blood of the patient with pertussis, the toxin inhibits the signal transduction by chemokine receptors and resulting in a failure to the lymphocytes or enter lymphoid tissue such as spleen and lymph nodes. Because the lymphocytes do not enter the lymphoid tissue, there is an increase in their number in the blood. Now, before continuing the same, I want to tell you that you people will be having test in the first week of entering to the college of all those topics which we have discussed up to now. All those topics which we are revised, which we have already revised up to now. So please be attentive while you are having these classes. Tracheal cytotoxin. Tracheal cytotoxin is a fragment of the bacterial peptidoglycan that damages the ciliated cells of respiratory tract. Tracheal cytotoxin appears to act in this concert with the endotoxin that is produced by the nitric oxide, which kills the ciliated epithelium. Now, this tracheal cytotoxicity is very toxic, is very important as it is killing the ciliated epithelium. So, the bacteria easily get attached to the respiratory tract epithelial cells, and those cilia which are brushing the respiratory tract so that it can be cleared is interrupted, and that is the why this toxin is affecting the cilia. How it represents? It represents by clinical findings. Whooping cough is an acute tracheobronchitis that begins with the mild upper respiratory tract symptoms, followed by severe paroxysmal cough, which lasts from 1 to 4 weeks. And this paroxysmal pattern is characterized by a series of hacking cough, accompanied by the production of copious amount of mucus, and that ends with the inspiratory tract whoop as air rushes pass through the narrowed glottis. So that's why it's called whooping cough or hacking coughs. Despite of the severity of the symptoms, the organism is restricted to the respiratory tract and blood cultures are negative. A pronounced leukocytosis with up to 70% of lymphocytosis is there. Although the central nervous system anoxia is there, but exhaustion can occur as a result of severe cough, and death is due to mainly pneumonia. The classic picture of whooping cough described above occurs primarily in the young children, and in adults, it causes the paroxysmal cough that lasts for weeks and characterized by whoop is often absent. The leading difficulty in the cough is mainly because of the organism is present. How you will diagnose? We will diagnose it by nasopharyngeal swab, and it can be taken in the paroxysmal stage so that it can be positive. A bordered Ganui medium is used for this purpose, and it contains high percentage of blood, that is 20 to 30%. Normally we use only 5% of the blood to inactivate the inhibitors of the anger. Serologically, you can detect by fluorescent antibody staining method or by agglutination with the specific antiserum, or we can go for the direct staining of nasopharyngeal specimen for the diagnosis. The PCR-based tests are highly specific and sensitive, and it should be used for the perfection of the diagnosis. And but it's only on concern of presence of availability of PCR for Bordetella. Erythromycin is a drug of choice, and it reduces the erythrocyte number and throat and decreases the high risk secondary complications as well. How we will prevent? There are two vaccines. One is acellular vaccine containing purified proteins from the organism, the while other is killed vaccine, and it is containing inactivated Bordetella pertussis organism. The combination of diphtheria, tetanus, and DPT, that is diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus, is given at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and then 14 weeks of the birth. And a booster is given when the patient will enter the 12th or 15 months of age, and the last one are entering the school. The kill vaccine is no longer recommended in the USA, and it is suspected to cause various side effects like post-vaccine encephalopathy. So that's why it's not too much liked nowadays. Erythromycin is useful in prevention of the disease in exposed unimmunized individuals, and it should also be given to the immunized children younger than 4 years who have been exposed with the vaccine induced immunity and is not completely protected. Regarding all these bacteria, the most important thing is that all those bacteria and viruses which are coming in your API program for the kids, that is your proper immunization program, primarily, you should know everything. You should know the vaccination, the disease, how it is proceeded, what is the age group which is more entertained. These are very important things. And along with these issues, you should know how it is occurring. These three are very important. Legionella will discuss later separately. Hemophilus is very important. If you have any question, you can ask. And I ask you one question, no one replied. Which is the clinical disease of Haemophilus influenza, which will cause the death? That is epiglottitis. As I told you, this one. It is the only obstructive disease which is causing only by H influenza and can cause life-threatening death because of the obstruction of airways. You should know this. And the factors which are important for the factors which are important for the growth of Haemophilus is also a very important question. That is heme factor and the NAD factor. That is the factor 10 and factor 5. If you have any question, you can ask regarding these two topics. Anyone? Otherwise, you should know that meningitis is there, sinusitis is there. I hope you have learned everything. Importance of cilia and the cytotoxic toxin of the ciliated epithelium which are disrupted by them is very important. That's all for today. Thank you so much. I hope you get everything from your lecture. That's why you people are not asking anything. I'm really surprised. If you are revising, you should have plenty of questions along with that. Whatever you are doing is on your behalf. It's not good because, as I told you, when you back, there will be a series of tests for your preparation of exam, and you should know till now what you are doing and where you stand in your course for writing. Okay, thank you.